Chloe was my sister in name only, but in reality, she was the girl my family raised to be my wife. After my dad passed away, my mom, terrified she'd run off with someone else, took matters into her own hands. She actually drugged Chloe and locked her in my room, but this accidentally caused her to miss her chance with her true love forever. Later, she locked my mom in the basement like an animal. She trapped me in a state where I couldn't even die, holding me captive. We're never going to be apart in this life. Are you satisfied now, brother? Lying in a pool of my own blood, I opened my eyes once more. I was back at the exact moment my mom drugged her. I was on the floor, my hair yanked back, forcing my head up. The iron chain around my ankle clanked with every movement. Chloe stared at my pained expression, her smile dark and menacing. Ethan Harris, trying to kill yourself with a hunger strike, are you? For every day you refuse to eat, I'll have my men torture your mother for one more day. I'm curious to see who's tougher, you or your mother. Chloe. My eyes shifted lifelessly as I suddenly spoke. Chloe's hand froze, and her voice turned to ice. What did you just call me? It didn't matter if it was before or now. For over 20 years, I had never once called Chloe sister. How could I call the girl I was raised to marry my sister? But today I felt like I had to. Chloe? I managed a faint, hollow smile, my eyes growing more vacant. It's been 7 years, isn't that enough? After the drugging incident, Chloe had willingly married me. She treated my mother and me exceptionally well, dedicating herself to managing the company alongside me. Her calmness was so complete that we both believed she held no resentment. That is, until the New Year's Eve when she drugged our dinner. She imprisoned my mother and me, seized our shares, and took complete control of my family's company. From that day forward, a revenge fueled by pure hatred began, and it lasted for 7 long years. At first, I tried everything. I asked for a divorce, I offered her compensation, I even attempted suicide multiple times. But in the end, I was forced to give up on every attempt. Because Chloe held my mother's life in her hands. So, the truth is, I wasn't refusing food on purpose. I genuinely couldn't eat. The pain from terminal stomach cancer was unbearable. Enough! Chloe let out a cold laugh and slapped me hard across the face. Then she brought a bowl of warm porridge to my lips, forcing me to eat. Ethan Harris, you can never repay what you owe me in this lifetime. Weren't you and your mother so afraid I'd run off with another man? Well, I promise you, we will never be apart. Are you satisfied now, brother? I was held down and forced to swallow half the bowl, but I couldn't stop myself from throwing it all up. Chloe's expression darkened as she ripped my shirt open and pushed me down onto the bed. You won't eat? Fine, then we'll do this instead. I truly never understood. If Chloe hated me so much, why hadn't she been with any other man for these past 7 years? Instead, she would drug me and sleep with me, as if it were another form of punishment. As passion washed over me, the veins on the back of my hand bulged. My body felt pleasure, but the psychological torment only intensified. It continued until the churning, metallic taste of blood in my stomach became impossible to suppress. Blood spilled from my lips, staining the white sheets. I heard Chloe's panicked voice as her hands frantically tried to wipe away the blood pouring from my mouth. But the more she wiped, the more it flowed. Ethan, what's happening to you? As my body went limp, I stared up at the dazzling crystal chandelier on the ceiling and smiled. A final, sweet release. Chloe, in this life, we're even now. Let my mother go. My head was spinning, and my body felt incredibly heavy, as if something was pinning me down. I frowned and slowly opened my eyes. The ceiling I saw was familiar, yet it felt like a lifetime ago, leaving me momentarily stunned. I wasn't dead. Where had Chloe taken me? It didn't look like a hospital, nor did it look like the bedroom where she had kept me chained for 7 years. It looked more like our old family home. Brother, I'm so hot. Chloe's soft gasp echoed in my ear. A violent shiver ran through me, goosebumps erupting all over my skin. My gaze darted downwards and met a pair of shimmering, lust-filled eyes. A much younger Chloe was looking at me, her eyes hazy and her breath warm against my skin. She pressed soft kisses against my neck. Brother, you're so cool. It feels so good. A thunderbolt seemed to strike my mind, making me tremble violently. This felt exactly like the night my mother drugged Chloe. I scanned the room, the familiar furniture confirming my suspicion. This was that night. Chloe, you need to calm down. Look at me. It's Ethan, your brother. Chloe's body went still for a moment. She lifted her hazy eyes, staring at me in confusion for a few seconds before pouting her lips. She pressed herself against me again, her hands starting to wander. "Brother, I feel so strange. Please help me." She pulled my hand to her chest, and I sucked in a sharp breath. In my past life, I had a stomachache that day and took the medicine my mother gave me. I lost all control. I absolutely could not let that happen again in this life. With a crash, I grabbed the glass jar filled with paper stars from the nightstand and, with just enough force, brought it down on Chloe's head. It wouldn't seriously injure her, but it was enough to knock her unconscious. The glass shattered, sending the handmade paper stars scattering across the bed. Chloe's body slumped onto mine. Then she went limp, unconscious. I lay there gasping for air, closing my eyes with the relief of someone who had just survived a catastrophe. Thank God, thank God. A strange heat was spreading through my own body, so I scrambled off the bed and rushed into the bathroom, turning on the cold shower. I took care of the problem myself. By the time I finally got the heat under control, I was completely exhausted. The combination of the stomach pain and the cold water made my head spin. I managed to stumble out of the bathroom and heard a buzzing sound in the room. I looked closer and saw it was Chloe's phone, lying on the floor. I staggered over and bent down to pick it up, but a wave of dizziness washed over me, and I collapsed to the floor. Right before I blacked out, I remembered what was buzzing. It was Chloe's phone. The caller was probably her longtime crush, her first love, Liam Kennedy. "Oh, Liam, you're here. Are you here for Chloe? Come on in, come in." I could hear voices from downstairs. It sounded like my mom was greeting a guest. I sat up, clutching my throbbing head. Outside, the sun was already bright. The sound of footsteps was heading straight for my room. "Chloe is in Ethan's room." "What? It's so early. What's she doing in Ethan's room?" My mind snapped into focus, and my heart sank. This was bad. Liam Kennedy used to be our neighbor. Our three families, the Kennedys, the Harises, and the Millers, all lived in the same exclusive neighborhood. Chloe and Liam were both the kind of perfect kids every parent dreams of. They had been competing since they were kids, arguing, fighting, and trying to one-up each other's grades all the way from high school through college. They seemed like sworn enemies who couldn't stand each other. But in reality, everyone knew they were just one confession away from being together, and everyone also knew my father had adopted Chloe with the intention of her one day becoming my wife. That's why Chloe and Liam had made a pact to tell my mother the truth on their graduation day. They would explain that she would repay our family for raising her, but she would never do it by marrying me. But as it turned out, my mother drugged Chloe, so she never answered his calls. Liam, worried something had happened to her, came over first thing the next morning to check. And then my mother deliberately led him upstairs to witness the surprise in my room. Liam was devastated. He went home and accepted his family's arranged marriage to someone else. And Chloe, filled with endless regret and hatred, was trapped with me for the next 7 years. A soft groan suddenly came from the bed. The unconscious Chloe stirred. She frowned and sat up, rubbing the back of her head with a hiss of pain. Her dazed eyes slowly focused, finally landing on my face. Chloe's body went rigid, and I could see a violent tremor in her eyes. "Ethan Harris!" She lunged at me, her hands shaking as she frantically touched my face and my lips. It was as if she was trying to wipe something away. Her voice was furious, but it trembled slightly. "Who gave you permission to cough up blood? Why didn't you tell me you were sick? You don't even have my permission to die. Do you hear me? If you dare to die, I'll torture your mother until she wishes she were dead." Every word exploded in my ears like thunder. My body froze, and my heart began to pound uncontrollably. "Chloe, you were reborn too, weren't you?" Before I could finish my sentence, the door opened. The people outside were about to step inside, and I was only wearing my boxers. If they saw this, there would be no way to explain it. Panicking, I acted on instinct and pulled Chloe off the bed. Then I jumped onto it myself and quickly pulled the covers over my nearly naked body. The paper stars scattered across the bed were sent flying, many of them falling to the floor. "Chloe, are you okay?" Liam rushed in and saw Chloe on the floor. Startled, he hurried to help her up. Chloe just stared at him, dumbfounded. After a long moment, she finally said his name in disbelief. "Liam?" "Yeah," Liam nodded, a flicker of worry on his face. "I called you last night, but you didn't answer. I was worried something might have happened, so I came to check on you." Chloe's eyes widened in shock. Then, just as I had, she looked around the room in utter disbelief. She was clearly processing the fact that she had been reborn. But my mother, who hadn't been reborn, had an even bigger reaction. Seeing that we weren't in bed together, her voice shot up several octaves. What's going on? Why didn't you too? Mom. I cut her off quickly. Chloe just brought me some stomach medicine, and I accidentally knocked it over. Could you get me some more? And ask the housekeeper to come sweep up the broken glass. It's a shame. The star jar broke too. As I said this, I looked over at Liam, who was visibly relieved, and smiled. You're here for Chloe, right, Liam? Yeah, Liam nodded, turning to look at Chloe. By now, Chloe had completely snapped out of her daze. She took a slow, deep breath, looked at his face, and said in a low, raspy voice, Liam, it's been a long time. Chloe and Liam went outside to talk. But before she left, she insisted on cleaning up all the broken glass in my room, including every last one of the scattered paper stars. She was meticulous, not missing a single one. As she walked out with the trash bag, she gave my mother and me one last deep, dark look. But she didn't say anything, just slowly closed the door behind her. I didn't pay it any mind, just collapsed onto the bed and let out a long sigh of relief. That was terrifying. Ethan, my mom said, her face pale as she sat on the edge of my bed and sighed, don't you love Chloe? Why didn't you go through with it? A shiver went through me. That familiar, dull ache returned to my chest. But mostly I just felt relieved. But she doesn't love me, Mom. You can't force these things. And we can't just hold the fact that we raised her over her head. That's not right. But my mom covered her face, her voice filled with frustration. But what if Chloe really marries Liam? What will you do then? After all the years our family spent raising her to be your wife, we're just going to let her marry someone else? I knew what she was really thinking. It wasn't just that my mom felt it was a waste. She couldn't stand the thought of losing the company shares my father had left to Chloe. My father had genuinely raised her as a future daughter-in-law, so he had left her a portion of the company to ensure her future was secure. It wasn't a huge amount, but still, who wants to just give that away? Especially since if Chloe got married, those shares would essentially belong to her new family. Why should they get it? But Mom, I sighed, if you scheme against Chloe like this, aren't you afraid she'll end up hating you? You'll turn from her mother into her enemy. What if she decides to make your life miserable in secret? You know, trusting your own son is always the safest bet. My mother's sobbing stopped. She stared at me for a long moment before finally speaking. You're right. Don't you worry, son. Mom will find you a wonderful wife. I was speechless. That wasn't what I meant at all, Mom. Chloe still wasn't home by 10:30 that night, but Liam had updated his Facebook status around 8, posting a beautiful picture of Chloe in profile. The caption read, You're worth being brave for. I quietly liked the post and left a sincere comment. Congratulations to you both. Not long after that, my phone rang. The voice on the other end was sweet and gentle, but her words were brief. Come outside. I'm in front of your house. I pursed my lips and quietly agreed. I grabbed my jacket from the bed, but just as I was about to head out, my mom suddenly seemed to get an energy boost. Ethan, is that Olivia? Yeah, I nodded, my hand pausing on the doorknob for a second. Olivia Miller, the eldest daughter of the Miller family, one of the 3 prominent families in our neighborhood alongside the Kennedys and the Harises. My childhood friend. In my past life, after Liam gave up on Chloe, he had entered into an arranged marriage with Olivia. And because of that, Chloe had always despised Olivia, targeting her relentlessly. The two of them nearly destroyed each other in our past life. My mother, completely oblivious to my unease, grew even more excited. I think Olivia is a wonderful girl. We've known her forever. Her family is respectable. Our 2 families are a perfect match. The door clicked open. The front door suddenly opened from the outside, bumping into me slightly. Chloe stepped inside, bringing a gust of the cool autumn air with her. She was holding 2 takeout containers of stir-fried noodles. They were from my mother's and my favorite restaurant. She glanced at the jacket I was wearing, her voice cold. Where are you going this late? I paused, clearing my throat awkwardly. In my past life, after Liam and Olivia married, they quickly faded from my life. I never knew if their marriage was a happy one. I only knew that from that point on, Chloe couldn't stand Olivia. Every time they crossed paths, Chloe would be in a terrible mood. She would come home and torment me in silence. Just going out for a walk. I pursed my lips, not mentioning who I was meeting. I just walked around Chloe in silence and headed out the door. Mom, Chloe said, slipping off her heels as she came inside. She placed the food on the table, her expression perfectly normal. I brought you guys a late-night snack. My mother's eyes glistened with tears. Chloe, about last night, Mom was just so scared. Mom, Chloe interrupted her with a smile. I understand. And please believe me, I will never forget the kindness you showed me by taking me in. No matter who I marry, I will never leave you and Ethan. Let's just let the past be the past. My mother nodded, choking back sobs. Just as she was about to say something, she heard Chloe ask, seemingly offhandedly, as she unwrapped a pair of disposable chopsticks. I wonder if it's safe for Ethan to be out so late by himself. Oh, don't worry, my mother chuckled. He's meeting Olivia Miller. Chloe, what do you think? Do Ethan and Olivia have a good chance of working out? I think they make a very handsome couple. With a snap, the disposable chopsticks in Chloe's hand broke in two. A silver Lotus was parked quietly under the dim glow of a streetlight. The driver's side window was rolled down halfway, revealing the stunning profile of a beautiful woman. When she saw me, the woman gestured with her head toward the passenger seat. Get in. I pursed my lips, got in, and shut the door. My tense body relaxed for some reason, and I let out a small sigh. Want to go watch the sunrise? Olivia's gentle voice filled the car. I paused for a second, then shook my head. No. Olivia glanced at me. Want to find a bar? Have a good cry. I shook my head and sighed. No, really, I'm not that upset. I won't deny that I was upset, but I was also happy for them. Olivia gave me a surprised look, clearly not believing me. You'd better be. I knew she didn't believe me. After all, she knew how much I loved Chloe. She knew that my only goal had been to marry her. Now that Chloe and Liam were officially together, it was only natural for Olivia to assume I'd be heartbroken. Olivia, I know this might sound sudden, but I really don't love Chloe anymore. As her brother, I'm happy that she's with Liam. Olivia pursed her red lips, her slender fingers tightening on the steering wheel. She gave me a long, searching look. Then, out of the blue, she asked, Did you ever open that star jar I gave you the other day? I froze, my expression turning awkward. Well, it was opened, but not in the way you mean. Olivia looked confused. She unbuckled her seatbelt and leaned towards me. We were so close that from outside the car, it would have looked like we were about to kiss. Olivia stared into my eyes, her voice surprisingly tense. What do you mean, not in the way I mean? You didn't give it to someone else, did you? I let out a guilty sound. No, I didn't give it away. It's just, the car door beside me was suddenly yanked open. Before I could react, my arm was grabbed and I was pulled out of the car. Caught off guard, I stumbled out onto the pavement. The car door slammed shut, and standing there was Chloe, dressed in a yellow designer dress, her expression cold and severe. The hand gripping my arm was incredibly strong. Her nails dug into my skin. Ethan Harris, you were going to let her kiss you? You were actually going to let her? Did you say yes to her? I was stunned. She wasn't kissing me. What's the matter, Chloe? Don't you approve of me becoming your sister-in-law? Inside the car, Olivia raised a perfectly sculpted eyebrow. Her expression was challenging as she looked at Chloe through the half-open window. Her voice was still gentle, but her words were sharp. You're in a relationship yourself, Chloe. Are you also going to control your brother's love life? So concerned about your brother, aren't you worried your precious Liam will get jealous? Chloe's brow furrowed, her tone sharp. My concern for my brother is none of your business. Ha! Olivia smirked. Is he really just your brother? Chloe's expression darkened, her lips pressed into a thin line. I was startled and quickly grabbed her arm. Chloe, let's just go home. Olivia was fearless because she didn't know the whole story. But I did. Chloe's attitude made it clear she was still carrying the resentment from our past life, where she believed Olivia had stolen her love. If this conversation continued, it was very likely to turn physical. Ethan Harris. Olivia's gaze fell on the hand I had on Chloe's arm, and her eyes turned to ice. Finally, she swore, something she rarely did. I can't believe I fell for your crap. So much for not loving Chloe anymore. Liar. The engine roared, and the car shot off like an arrow. I watched her taillights disappear around the corner and sighed. Olivia, you have no idea just how much Chloe despises you. I was saving your life. So sad to see her go? Chloe's cold voice said from beside me. I gave her a confused look. She didn't steal your man in this life. Do you have to be so hostile? Chloe pursed her lips, staring at me silently. She didn't say a word. Couldn't help but sigh. To be honest, this was the first chance Chloe and I had to be alone together since I woke up in this new life. A chance to finally talk about our rebirth. Chloe, What my mother and I did to you in our past life was wrong. We deserved everything that happened to us. But I think my mother and I have paid for our sins. In this life, you should focus on your relationship with Liam. Let's call it even and start over. Separately, what do you say? I said it with all sincerity, but Chloe's eyes darkened for some reason. Her fists were still clenched, and she bit her lip, as if holding back some powerful emotion. I frowned. What was this? Weren't 7 years of revenge in our past life enough for her? Was she planning to continue her revenge against my mother and me in this life too? Chloe. I pursed my lips and looked her straight in the eye under the moonlight, my expression serious. I hope you and Liam have a happy life together. Let the past be the past. A deep tremor ran through Chloe's eyes. After a long silence, her clenched fists finally relaxed, as if all the strength had gone out of them. After that day, Liam started coming over to our house much more often. I tried to avoid him, but we still ran into each other occasionally. Especially today, I was fixing my hair in the full-length mirror by the door. Liam walked in just then, dressed in a stylish white casual outfit, clearly having put effort into his appearance. He gave me a strange look. Ethan, are you coming to the movies with us? No, I said with a lazy yawn, feeling confused. Why would I go on a date with you too? I have a doctor's appointment today for my stomach. In my past life, I died of stomach cancer, and I suspected the stomach pains I was having now were the beginning of it. Now that I had a second chance, I had to take care of myself. Liam seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. His expression softened. Oh, I see. But Chloe, who was grabbing her purse, froze when she heard me. She looked up at me, her gaze intense. Brother will go with you. No, that's not necessary. I had barely gotten the word out when Liam spoke up, looking troubled. But Chloe, the hospital is in the opposite direction of the movie theater. We'll be late. Maybe we should go to the movies another day. Ethan's health is more important. We should. You two don't need to worry about him, my mother said, coming out of the kitchen with a bowl of washed fruit. He has a date today. Chloe's brow twitched. Liam also looked at me in surprise, his eyes lighting up. Ethan, you're seeing someone. I nodded, feeling a little guilty. Yeah, seeing someone, my ass. I didn't have a date. The date was just an excuse to get my mother off my back. But what I didn't expect was that as soon as I stepped outside to get my car, I saw Olivia's car parked right at the curb. Maybe because it was her day off, she wasn't wearing her usual professional attire. Instead, she wore a pink dress, and her long, dark hair was down, making her look especially beautiful and feminine. What are you doing here? I asked, shocked, as I got into the passenger seat. Olivia raised an eyebrow and tossed me a bag of dumplings, her voice casual. My mother woke me up early this morning to make sure I wasn't late for my date with you. I was speechless again. So, my mother had already conspired with Mrs. Miller. Your mother wants to set us up, Olivia stated calmly. I broke into a cold sweat and covered my face with my hands. Olivia was a lawyer. She could see right through my family's situation. Your father just passed away. There must be plenty of senior members of the board who are unhappy with you taking over. If you want a smooth transition into running the company, your best bet is to marry a powerful woman, to form an alliance. Now that Chloe is with Liam, she's an outsider. So, your mother has chosen me? Olivia's analysis was spot on. I was speechless. I just sighed and said, don't worry, I have a plan, we don't have to. I'll do it. Her sudden words left me stunned. I blinked a few times, not even processing what she had said. Huh? What? All the way back from the hospital. I didn't exchange a single word with Olivia. After all, it was the first time a girl had ever pursued me. And Olivia didn't say anything either, letting the silence hang in the air between us. The silence lasted until we pulled up to my house and I got out of the car. Then she suddenly called my name, getting out of the car and standing in front of me in her heels. Ethan Harris. Olivia's gaze was fixed on my face, her deep eyes reflecting my own image back at me. I'm serious. I nodded hastily, a part of me wanting to run. Yeah, I know. But Olivia seemed to see right through me. She clenched her fists and threatened. I want an answer by 8 o'clock tomorrow night. If you're 1 minute late, I'll sue you. Tisk, I said, poking her on the forehead. You're playing with fire, little girl. Threatening me now, are you? Olivia laughed, a playful, charming sound, and gave me a light, flirtatious kick. So, I'd advise you not to stand up a lawyer. You might find yourself facing a very long sentence. I just held my wrists together in front of her as if in handcuffs. I said, annoyed, Go on then, beautiful, call the cops, arrest me. She grabbed my wrists and pulled me towards her, her soft body pressing against mine. Olivia hugged me tightly, burying her face in my chest. You're under arrest. I was completely frozen. What was happening? There was a thud. Something had fallen to the ground at the corner of the street. I turned my head and saw Chloe and Liam standing at the corner, holding hands. Paper bag lay at Liam's feet. Beer cans from inside were rolling on the pavement, but my eyes were fixed on the half-spilled contents of the bag, specifically on the distinctive blue and white box of condoms. Sorry about that, Liam said with a grin, looking like he was enjoying the drama. I was just so shocked. I completely forgot I was holding a bag. So, the person you're seeing is Olivia. You two make a great couple, a perfect match. But Chloe frowned, her eyes darting to Olivia's arms still wrapped around me. Her tone was cold, making a scene right on the doorstep. Have you no shame? Can't you get enough of each other? Liam's smile faltered for a moment, but Olivia just raised an eyebrow and smirked. Nope, can't get enough. Can't get enough my ass. I quickly pulled away from Olivia, but Chloe pursed her lips and walked over, pushing Olivia away from me with a look of displeasure. How did your checkup go? It's fine. I shook my head. I just need to watch what I eat and get regular checkups. Chloe's expression softened slightly, and she nodded. Liam stepped forward with a smile and put his arm around her waist. Chloe, let's go inside. We shouldn't interrupt Ethan and Olivia's date. But Chloe didn't move, her eyes scanning both me and Olivia. It's late. Isn't your date over yet? Olivia frowned, but she kept a smile on her face. Chloe, you're overstepping a bit, aren't you? You're here with Liam. Why are you so concerned with us? My heart skipped a beat, afraid Olivia would say something she'd regret. I quickly gave her a little tug. I'm heading in. Bye, Olivia, drive safe, text me when you get home. Without waiting for a response, I turned and hurried inside. I walked quickly back to my room and looked out the window at the scene below. Olivia's car was already driving away, just turning the corner. I breathed a sigh of relief, but as I was about to close the curtains, I caught a glimpse of something. It looked like Liam and Chloe were arguing. A few seconds later, I closed the curtains. I had a pretty good idea it was about me. After all, Liam had known since we were kids that Chloe was raised to be my wife. Even though they were officially together now, he was bound to be uncomfortable with me being around. I could understand. I took out my phone and, after a moment's thought, sent a message to Olivia. Hey, counselor, don't forget about that thing I asked you to do today. It's important. Please get it done as soon as you can. I was in a real hurry. I was desperate to draw a clear line between myself and Chloe. I had decided to let the past go. But having been reborn, even if Chloe could act like none of it ever happened, I couldn't forget those 7 years of torment. I couldn't pretend they never existed. And besides, even without the whole rebirth thing, given the current situation, it was no longer appropriate for us to live under the same roof as a family. I was suddenly jolted awake by my phone ringing. The moonlight was faint as I opened my eyes and checked the time on my phone. It was 2:37 a.m. The caller was Chloe. What's she doing calling in the middle of the night? I burrowed deeper into my blankets, my mind slowly clearing. Wait a minute. Shouldn't Chloe be in bed with Liam right now? Why was she calling me? Just as I had that thought, I heard Chloe's soft moan through the phone. Liam, I can't take it anymore. Her voice was accompanied by Liam's deep, ragged breaths. A jolt went through my mind. My eyes snapped open, and I was wide awake. I suspected that Chloe might not have been the one who made the call. Could have been Liam. But what did that have to do with me? With an indescribable expression on my face, I hung up the phone. Freaks. What I didn't hear was the soft, seductive whisper of Ethan that came through the phone just as I hung up. When Olivia came to my house with the documents, I had already been working on company files all morning. In my past life, even though Chloe had imprisoned me, she still needed my help with the company's business. The experience I gained in my past life made taking over my father's company in this life much easier. How did you get so good at this overnight? Olivia asked as she walked in, just as I was finishing the last file. Her eyes were wide with surprise. With skills like these, I bet a lot of people at the company are already on your side. I just smiled silently. My gaze fell on the documents in Olivia's hand, and I raised an eyebrow. Olivia pursed her lips and handed me the file, her expression unreadable. It's all done, just like you asked. I opened the file and scanned it quickly, then looked up at her with a grateful smile. Thank you for your help, counselor. Are you sure about this? Olivia asked, staring at me intently. I nodded. Yes, this is the best way to handle things between us. Olivia paused. You know, you don't have to rush this. Chloe and Liam just got together. She didn't say the rest, but I knew what she was thinking. She meant that there was no guarantee they would last. It doesn't matter. Even if it wasn't Liam, even if it was someone else, Chloe and I would still need to keep our distance. And besides, the phone call from last night flashed through my mind. I covered my face. Liam seems to be in a real hurry. Tisk, Olivia said with a look of disgust. You should stay away from him. I widened my eyes in surprise. Did Olivia hate Liam that much? Then why did she agree to marry him in our past life? Olivia continued with a scoff. He knew your family raised Chloe to be your wife, and he still came after her, pretending to be all innocent. How is that any different from being the other man? The way she said that, as if she didn't have a crush on me herself? I gave her a teasing look. She clearly realized what I was thinking and touched her nose awkwardly. She cleared her throat and said, annoyed. How can you compare me to him? Is having a secret crush the same as openly trying to steal someone away? Before I was sure things were over between you and Chloe, did anyone ever suspect I had feelings for you? And him? He acts like he's afraid people won't notice the sparks between him and Chloe. I even confessed my feelings in secret, and you didn't even see it. She mumbled the last part so quietly that I couldn't hear it, but when I asked her to repeat it, she refused. Olivia didn't stay long. She left as soon as she dropped off the file. I walked her to the door, where she suddenly stopped, stood on her tiptoes and leaned in close. She said with a smile, just a friendly reminder. You have 5 hours until 8 o'clock tonight. I slammed the door in her face. Get out of here. The weather was getting colder, and it was a little chilly for a short-sleeved shirt. I rubbed my arms and turned back towards the house with a smile. But as I was about to go inside, I looked up and saw Chloe sitting on a wicker chair on the second-floor balcony, her gaze fixed on me. I had no idea how long she had been watching me. This is for you. I went back inside to grab a jacket, then went up to the balcony. I pulled out a chair and sat down, placing the file Olivia had brought on the table between us. Chloe frowned but didn't reach for the file. Instead, she suddenly asked, Are you really with Olivia? I pursed my lips, avoiding the question. I pushed the file towards her. Take a look. If everything is in order, just sign it. Chloe's expression darkened as she opened the file and glanced at the contents. To my surprise, her brow furrowed even deeper. What's wrong? Are the terms not to your liking? I asked, confused. I thought the terms I had offered were more than generous. I was willing to let her keep the shares my father had left her, as a dowry. It would give her some security when she married into another family. But there were 3 conditions. First, she could only take $5 million in dividends each year, not a penny more. Second, the shares could not be transferred to anyone else. And third, Chloe had to move out of our house. And we would not see each other again unless it was for a funeral or a life-or-death emergency. Not see each other again? Chloe said, a cold sneer on her lips. Ethan Harris, why should I let you off so easily? What was that supposed to mean? I was so angry I had to laugh. My family raised you for years and you run off with another man, and I'm still letting you keep the shares. How are you getting the short end of the stick here? What do you mean, letting me off easy? Besides, I don't believe you can face my mother and me the same way you used to. It's better for everyone if we don't see each other again. Better. Chloe threw the file on the ground, her eyes blazing with anger. Nothing has ever been good for me. Ethan Harris, you want me to sign this? Fine. I have one condition. You can't be with Olivia Miller. Her eyes were wide, her fists clenched, a clear sign of her rage. But I just felt tired. I looked out at the horizon and shoved my cold hands into my pockets. What does this have to do with Olivia? Chloe, you can't let go of the hatred from our past life. What's happened has happened. If you can't move on, then My words caught in my throat. I froze for a second, then pulled my hand out of my pocket. My fingers had brushed against something with sharp corners. It was a yellow paper star. It must have fallen into my jacket pocket when the jar broke that night. The sole survivor. My hands trembled as I slowly began to unfold it, but a slender, pale hand snatched it from me. Chloe's face was ashen as she quickly tore it to pieces. My eyes narrowed. I looked up at Chloe and said slowly, So, you knew all along that Olivia had confessed her feelings for me in that star jar. In that instant, the memory of the day I was reborn flashed through my mind. Her first love, lost and found, was standing right in front of her. The crucial moment when she could finally say the words she had regretted her entire life. And yet, for some reason, Chloe had insisted on cleaning up every single paper star in my room first. At that moment, I suddenly understood. I shot up from my chair and stumbled back a few steps. So, Chloe's hostility towards Olivia. It wasn't just because Olivia had married Liam in our past life. Of course, Olivia hated Liam, so why would she have agreed to marry him? Could it be, I gasped, that in our past life, the reason Olivia fought with you so fiercely, was it because of me? Every time Chloe saw Olivia, she would come home and torment me. It wasn't because of Liam at all. Yes, Chloe lunged forward, her eyes red, and said through gritted teeth, every single time Olivia came to see me in our past life, it was to make a deal, to get me to let you go, to divorce you. She said she had loved you for years, and that since we were so unhappy together, why shouldn't we get a divorce? Of course, I knew we should get a divorce, but I didn't want to. I wouldn't let you go, not even in death. After she finished speaking, as if admitting defeat, she threw herself into my arms. She buried her face in my chest and began to sob. Brother, I thought I refused to let you go because I hated you, but the moment you coughed up blood in front of me, I was terrified. In that instant, I realized that as long as you were alive, none of the hatred mattered. After being reborn, I thought we could put it all behind us, that we could both start over. But Ethan, even when I'm with Liam, all I can think about is you. I'm so afraid you'll end up with Olivia, that you'll accept her, that you'll fall in love with her. Brother, I think I might actually love. Shut up. I slapped her hard across the face, cutting off the words before she could say them. My hand was shaking violently as I backed away, shaking my head. Chloe, you can't. I don't care what you're about to say, you can't say it. She couldn't spend our last life torturing me while her heart belonged to Liam. And then in this life, now that she has Liam, suddenly decide she's in love with me. Chloe, in this life, I can only ever be your brother. Nothing more. I don't know what Chloe said to Liam that night. I only know that when he came to our house the next morning, he looked terrible. The two of them had a huge fight in her room. Their voices were so loud that I could even hear them from the study. My fingers flew across the keyboard as I read the approving comments from the shareholders. A sense of calm washed over me, but I didn't expect Liam to suddenly burst into the room. He didn't look like he'd been doing well lately. Even though he was well-dressed, the look on his face was grim. My fingers paused on the keyboard, and I looked at him in confusion. Liam, what's up? Liam forced a smile, his eyes glancing at my computer screen as he asked casually, Ethan, are you and your mother planning on moving? I pursed my lips. Yeah, we are. If Chloe wouldn't move out, then I would. And you're not coming back, right? Liam asked, looking down at me, his eyes tense. I looked up at him and smiled. I had no intention of beating around the bush. You don't have to worry. No matter what happens, my mother and I will be cutting ties with Chloe. So, man up and stop with the petty games. It's pathetic. I thought I was being pretty gentle, but Liam just gave a bitter laugh. What else can I do? I finally managed to win her away from you, only to find that her heart is still full of you. My eyes widened slightly, and for a moment, I saw a reflection of my past self in him. But Liam was in a better position than I had been. I had no choice, but he did. Then is it worth it? To spend your life with a woman who has two men in her heart? Liam just smiled, a hollow, dazed expression on his face. It is. As long as you disappear from her life, I'm confident I can win her over completely. The words were on the tip of my tongue, but in the end, I swallowed them. You can't spend your life trying to change someone else's mind. I respect that, I said to Liam with a sincere smile. I wish you the best. The day I finalized the purchase of our new house, Olivia came over. Chloe came too. They were both holding bouquets of flowers. I paused for a moment, then stepped forward and took the roses from Olivia. Chloe looked down at the bright, vibrant sunflowers in her own arms and gave a bitter smile. She turned and threw the flowers in the trash. Then she looked up at me, her eyes red-rimmed, and forced a smile. Brother, can we talk? I met her gaze for a few seconds, then nodded. Okay. Olivia raised an eyebrow and whispered playfully in my ear. You still haven't given me your answer. Why does she get to talk to you first? I made a soft tisk sound and gently ruffled her hair. Why are you comparing yourself to her? This might be the last time I ever see Chloe. We have all the time in the world, Does she really need to be jealous of this? Olivia clearly understood. She pouted and whispered, "Fine, but you have to give me your answer after this, or I'm really suing you." I just rolled my eyes. We stood in the silent, empty stairwell. Chloe stood with her back to me, her slender frame trembling slightly, her fists clenched at her sides. I shivered, feeling a sudden chill. "Brother, if Mom hadn't told me you were moving, when were you planning on telling me you were leaving? Were you just going to let me come home one day and find that you and Mom had disappeared? That I would have to search everywhere, only to realize you had abandoned me?" Chloe's voice was hoarse. It echoed in the empty stairwell. I looked down, pursing my lips. "I was going to let you know after we had already moved." Let her know, not ask. The new house was bought. My new life was planned. And Chloe was not in any of those plans. "Brother," Chloe's voice trembled, "are you really going to abandon me?" "Chloe, we haven't been on the same path for a long time. How can it be abandonment? What if I love you? What if I already broke up with Liam?" Chloe finally turned to face me, her eyes red and swollen. I slapped her. I slapped her hard across the face, my expression blank. "That's your answer. Every time you say it, I'll do it again. Until you stop saying such crazy things. Yes, as a man, I shouldn't hit a woman. But honestly, this was something Chloe owed me, owed our family. As her brother, I had to snap her out of it." Chloe turned her face away, silent tears streaming down her cheeks. Her breathing was shaky. "Brother, what did I do wrong? I just realized my mistake a little too late. Your Harris family manipulated my destiny. Shouldn't I hate you for that? But in this life, I've realized my mistake. I've realized who I truly love." I slapped her again. My hand struck her other cheek. My expression was unreadable. "None of that matters. There's no going back for us. I will not see you again in this life." When I came out of the stairwell, the wind in the hallway felt cool against my cheeks. It brought a chill with it. I reached up to touch my face and found it was wet. Had I been crying? Was it tears of joy? Relief from a near disaster? The weight lifting from my shoulders? I didn't know, but I knew it wasn't because I was sad. Someone was leaning against the wall not far away. A slender, graceful figure. So beautiful it was a pleasure just to look at her. "Olivia," I said softly. Olivia's head snapped up, and she instinctively glanced behind me. When she saw that Chloe hadn't followed me, she breathed a sigh of relief. "Now that you're done with her, is it my turn?" I checked my phone. "I don't think there's time. I have to get back to moving," I said with a smile. I took a paper star from my pocket and pressed it into her hand. "Don't open it until I'm gone." As the elevator doors closed, I saw Olivia looking down, carefully unfolding the paper star. It was the one star I had found, after turning my room upside down, tucked away in a crack in my headboard. Inside was Olivia's confession to me. "Ethan Harris, if things don't work out with Chloe, please turn around and look at me. I've been waiting for you for so many years." And on the one Olivia was holding now, I had added another line. It wasn't exactly a response, just a series of numbers. The code to the front door of my new house. Later on, Olivia and I got married and started a family. My phone buzzed. It was a text message notification. Olivia, who was playing with our daughter, pouted. "Honey, your dear sister is texting you again. You're just jealous," I said, poking her on the forehead. "You're a mother now, still so prone to jealousy?" I swiped up and opened the message. There were hundreds of pleading texts from Chloe. "Brother, please see me. I'm begging you. Brother, I know I was wrong. Please just see me. I really miss you. I miss you so much." My expression didn't change as I deleted the messages. I turned to my daughter and clapped my hands. "Come here, sweetie. Come to daddy." My daughter didn't come. Instead, Olivia wrapped her arms around me and kissed me softly on the lips. "The baby can wait. My husband comes first. If you don't let me, I'll sue you for domestic abuse." "Tisk," I said with a grin. "Go ahead, call the cops."